Welcome everyone to the first episode of World of Warships with bunch of sarcasm. This time I'm playing the best class in the game. Clicking away at juicy targets from the safety of the other side of the map. And no, I don't feel sorry for it. If you're new to the game and think that carriers are the artillery 2.0, then you can take your opinion and shove it deep and where the sun don't shine. The so-called CVs are much more vulnerable than that. For first, they can be attacked just like everyone else, and their planes can easily be shot down by either competent enemy carrier players of other ships with good anti-aircraft guns. But then there are also the chance of missing your bombs and torpedoes, which will happen a lot, especially against players who are not first-class nubs. But never mind. Let's get into the game. I'm playing here in the Zuiho. Cheeky Wargaming has given this CV 4 different plane groups. 2 of them are fast and nasty torpedo bombers. One is the fighter escort, and the last one is useless fucking dive bombers that usually do less damage than anything else in the game. As always, I start by sending my fighters out for a scouting run, go get an idea of the enemy ship deployment. On the big race map, the best players usually concentrate in the eastern side of the map, and many of them compete for who will get annihilated first. So I send my fighters first and bombers after them to act as bait in case shit hits the fan. I keep my torpedo bombers in a safe distance just in case I see enemy fighters rushing them. We've managed to spot a couple of enemy cruisers and a battleship. Because battleship drivers tend to sail in a straight line, I like to target them first, unless they have very good anti-aircraft guns. The cruiser in the front launches his fighter aircraft, so I see an opportunity to easily swat it out of the sky, even though Japanese carriers have only 4 fighters in each group. 4 versus 1 is still a no-brainer. You should grab such opportunities like Kanye West uses every minute of airtime to tell everyone how great he is. Meanwhile, the torpedo bombers are closing in on their potential victims. Gentleman in the front looks like a prime candidate for a couple of torpedoes in the side. As a bonus, there's a destroyer behind him who will get spunked too if he's fucking stupid enough to continue to sail full speed ahead. The cruiser turns a little, so I have to adjust my torpedo drop so the destroyer will get away for sure. Bummer. The cruiser manages to avoid 3 torpedoes and only eats 1 for 8k damage, and judging by his course he will also get beached and will be a sitting duck for a few moments. Then I notice a big fat juicy battleship. It looks like he's starting to turn, but he is moving pretty slowly, so I decide to try to take a big steaming dump on him. I start my approach and set up a nice wide spread, because at the time I was a filthy scrub and didn't know how to spread tightly. It looks good, and he didn't react quick enough to avoid it completely, but a tighter spread could probably make him take damage in the next match from this too. 2 torps hit him for an 11k of damage. Not exactly groundbreaking, but we'll take it. At this point I decide to be a silly bee and aim with my empty torpedo bombers at the destroyer, which I have no chance to hit reliably. But that's how it is playing carriers. You have to manage a lot of things at the same time, especially with Japanese CVs. So in theory women should be better at playing them, but don't quote me on that. I just know that I can't juggle multiple balls at the same time, unless they are only 2. So my second TB group has been rearmed, and I want to get them back into action as quickly as possible. Let's see if the destroyer is still lurking around the same place, and it looks like he is. As shitty as they are, the dive bombers are our best option here. Sending torpedo bombers against a destroyer would be like trying to take a flying fuck on a rolling donut. Even though we hit him for only 2.3k, we also managed to knock out some of his torpedo tubes and set him on fire. That means he will think twice about getting closer to our ships until he extinguishes the flames. I forgot to mention one very important aspect of this match. The enemy team doesn't have an aircraft carrier, so I'm pretty much like a fox let loose in a henhouse. The only thing I have to worry about are enemy ships with very good anti-aircraft guns, which in this game are exactly none. Poor fucking scrubs. I have chosen this Wyoming on the right to be my next victim. He has 2 cruisers nearby him, but their anti-aircraft defense is garbage, so I just go for it. Of course, widespread again like a scrub. This one looks smarter and immediately starts turning into me, so I cancel my drop and adjust the approach angle. As a nice bonus, the cruiser on the right also strays into the torpedo launch zone. The attack looks very good this time, and the battleship now has very little time to maneuver. This time our patience gets rewarded with 3 solid hits and 16,000 damage to that poor Wyoming. Even though our team is landing some solid hits on the enemy, they are still getting closer and closer to us. As there are no threat from enemy aircraft, I leave my fighters around this area to spot incoming enemy ships. At this point I'm kind of starting to feel a little uncomfortable and feel the need to take a step back and relocate. Looking at the map we can clearly see the deployment of the enemy team. Middle of the map still looks good, so I decide to keep my attention there for a minute or two. Those lone fighter and spotter planes are basically a free kill, so of course I decide to take them. While my fighters are busy there, I send a torpedo bomber and a dive bomber squadron towards the enemy ships. The cruiser is very maneuverable, so I decide to attack it with my dive bombers. But the torpedoes launched from a sneaky friendly destroyer takes him out. So instead I redirect my useless dive bombers to try to take a dump on the enemy destroyer which is barely floating. Meanwhile my fighters finally destroys that pesky enemy plane. 4 versus 1. Good job. Now my dive bombers make their approach on the enemy destroyer. And of course, all of their stinking bombs misses it. How predictable. Time to go to the forum and rage that dive bombers needs buffing lol. Just like people always do when they can't fucking play their class. My torpedo bombers launch their load at that slowly moving Wyoming. But because of the enemy fire the spread is very wide and only one of those torpedoes hit. 6.6k is better than nothing, but if that spread was better executed that battleship would be at the bottom now. Unfortunately my fighters are out of ammo, but they can't really return to rearm because of those pesky enemy planes are still engaging them. Are you fucking serious? Don't they run out of ammo too? Now it looks that one of them is finally returning. It was about time. And the battleship that we hit earlier finally goes down because of the flooding that we caused. Apparently he didn't have his damage control consumable. Sucks to be him. Meanwhile my torpedo bombers are returning to the carrier to rearm and prepare to take a dump on another unsuspecting victim. Also my fighter squadron is doing the same to reload and also regroup because one of those enemy fighters managed to shot one of them down. Lucky son of a beach. A couple of enemy ships are capping, but it doesn't concern me too much because it will take them fucking ages to cap to a 100% in this game mode. Looks like there are a couple of fat juicy targets in this side of the map, so I immediately send my TBs there to try to use my advantage because in tight waters they have less room to maneuver. I'm still a little worried about those enemy planes. I mean they are not full fighter squads, but they could still fuck up my approach a little. They don't seem to take interest in my movement, so I can confidently progress. My allies are shooting at an enemy battleship and another friendly ship is engaged with it in a close range fight. My fighters had just landed, and my torpedo bombers are approaching these isolated enemy battleships. Our friendly ship there is getting the shit beaten out of him, so I better hurry up with my torpedo run. I decide to attack both of these ships at the same time, each with one TB squadron. And also try to soften one of them up with my dive bombers in hope for a fire or incapacitation. One of them sees me coming and immediately starts turning away, but we luckily set the other one on fire. Now we can control the engagement here because we don't have enemy planes to worry about and their anti-aircraft defense is pathetic. Now it's just a matter of patience and catching them off guard and launching torpedoes at the right moment. This time we launch at the perfect moment, and he has no time to maneuver. Time to bend over, grab your ankles and kiss your ass bye-bye. We actually get pretty lucky here to do 43k with only 2 of the torpedoes hitting. I suspect it had something to do with the fire that we set earlier. It also didn't indicate a magazine detonation, so I don't have any other theories how what should have been 17k maximum damage resulted in 43,000. But I'm not complaining. All of my bomber squads are returning to rearm, so I kind of have to faff around for a while. I might as well do some spotting with my fighters and spank some of the remaining enemy spotter planes. At this stage it probably means nothing, but my fighters don't have any other use in this match anyway. Actually I have one of my TBs still in the air, so let's use them. This battleship has beached himself, probably by trying to avoid torpedoes from our friendly cruiser. Now he has absolutely no chance to survive unless I royally fuck up my approach or just abandon him. Torps from the cruiser leave him on low enough health that he's now a one-hit kill for our torpedoes. And that's exactly what happens. We hit him for 9k with 2 of our torpedoes and get a high caliber medal and bragging rights for how much fucking damage did we do this match. LTP noobs. Now there is only one enemy ship remaining in this match, so it's now just about mopping up the remaining damage and moving on. So far we hit 11 of our torpedoes and destroyed 3 ships, which I'd say is a decent achievement. Considering that I'm a casual World of Warships player, basically a fucking scrub. Let's try to deal with this spotter plane while our bombers get to the remaining enemy ship. I probably should have relocated my ship closer, but as I said, I'm a nub. But I'll learn eventually, hopefully. That enemy spotter plane gets taken out, which is very bad for him. Now without it, he has 0 chance to win because of the view range disadvantage. It was his only chance. By the way, I'm kidding. Take note that the things heard on this channel should be taken with a pinch of salt. A very big pinch, I might add. But if serious, that battleship is in very deep trouble now and taking fire from at least 2 of our friendly ships. We might not be able to get a hit on him as another friendly ship approaches from the left side. The only thing that he could do here is to avoid my torps by turning in or out. But that wouldn't save him from our friendly gunfire. It looks like he's already trying to turn out to avoid incoming strike from my torpedo bombers. But a couple of quick and minor adjustments leave him with no chance to avoid the incoming dump. It looks like he's not gonna be able to dodge all of my torpedoes, and that's exactly what happens. The only torpedo that hits him does 7k damage, but that is not enough to send him to the bottom. And our friendly ships finish him off. We finish this game with 184k damage and 1.8k experience earned without a premium account. Is that good? You tell me. How should I know? Only 3 planes shot down though, but that's what you get when matchmaker thinks he's funny and puts only 1 carrier in the match. But I'm not complaining. Top on the experience earned is good. In total we did 120k damage this game. 101k with our torpedoes and 17k flooding damage. Plus some minor damage with fires and shitty dive bombs. Now, thank you for watching this video. If you thought it sucked, go ahead and smash that dislike button. But if you liked it, press a like and leave a comment and tell me what do you think about it. And also subscribe for more sarcasm filled videos.